Welcome to Transform Perspective with Kyra Weathersby. Here again with another episode, and I had to make sure to put on a long sleeve because the weather outside is frightful. Very frightful. 40 degrees. Yesterday it was 80 degrees. Why? What's going on? I don't know. I feel like it's just the seasons are not having not saying it's not having a smooth transition, but come on now. 80 to 40, and then it's gonna rise up. I don't know what's going on, but we came prepared with the long sleeve. So yeah, the plane is just interrupting my intro right now. But welcome back to another episode. I really appreciate you being here. And yeah, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to Transform Perspective. It is on YouTube, just a reminder. So definitely go check it out if you want to watch the video on YouTube and look at some other content. But there will also be meditations and affirmations on Spotify, so follow. And I'm also on TikTok. So yeah, that was another thing I was going to say. Hopefully I don't lose it. Oh, also, if you want a free 15-minute meditation, make sure to click down in the description below and sign up with your email, okay? Because yeah, I have that for you. It's a gift from me to you. 15-minute guided meditation. If you have listened to some of my other meditations, they are 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and some are 10. But I usually don't go past 10. So if you want a longer meditation or just want to check it out, please feel free to click the link below and sign up with your email. And there will be a 15-minute guided meditation for free sent to your email. So yeah, definitely check it out. And let's get into this episode. So, just being straightforward, I was contemplating recently what it means to be an adult. It's been very confusing, especially being in your 20s. Oh my goodness. And I felt like people don't really talk about it a lot. I have seen videos and stuff about people talking about being lost in your 20s and feeling like you're stuck or don't know what to do or you're behind. And I'm like, yes, and yes, all very true. And I've spoken to a lot of elders and people who have experienced their 20s, and they're like, yeah, it was a tough time. Not for everybody, but for some. And I'm just like, why is that? And when do you get to a point where you really feel like an adult, when you really feel like you know what you're doing? Because it's so fresh, it's so new. I feel like even at 18, 19, they tell you you're an adult, but it didn't really feel like it. Plus, there's still that teen on the end of it, 18, 19. I feel like really the age of being an adult is 20, when you don't have the teen on there anymore. But that's not the case. I totally get having laws and, knowing, okay, that's a child, that's a teen, that's an adult. It's necessary to have those boundaries and those laws in place. I'm just saying when it comes to living in this world and in society, it's like, yes, I'm an adult, but why don't I feel like an adult? And what does it mean to even be an adult? Is that when you start paying bills, Is that when you have a great job? When you have traveled the world, you're pretty well traveled? Is that when you know how to cook your own dinners? When you found your spouse, your partner, when you have kids, when you know how to, make your own doctor's appointment? Like, when do you, I guess, feel like an adult? For me personally in my life, it's like I feel mature, like an adult, but it's also like there's things that I'm still learning and I feel like I need to have together, but I don't. And I'm just like, that's okay. But in a sense, it's like we live in a time right now and in society where I feel like everybody is in such a big rush to go, I don't know where, a big rush to have a lot of money, a big rush to have the perfect job or dream career, or, to know what you love, a big rush to meet the right person or have kids for some, or go to every country, or just, have it all together, whatever that looks like. is different for every person, but I feel like it's such this big rush. And I feel like being in your 20s, or just this could be any age really, but I just speak on 20s because that's where I am. It's like I feel like I'm so behind, but I just got started. Like this is new. We grow up and you get into school about 4 or 5 years old. It's different for everybody. I did Head Start, pre-K, depending on where you're located, it's different. But everybody goes through K through 12, and then you graduate and you're an adult and you either continue higher education with college or, another form of education, or you just begin working. But I feel like it takes some time to kind of get into the groove of this new stage in your life, to transition into this new space. It's like, oh, I'm an adult, but it's a name, it's a label that is important to have. I'm not saying it's not important to have. I'm just saying it takes some time to really get into the groove and feel that way. And I'm definitely learning this. Because personally, I feel like my maturity level has always been like, pretty high. I feel like a pretty mature person, but there's just so much that's unknown and that I don't know. And I feel like this concept of being an adult is this idea that you know it all. And that's not true. That's not necessarily true because you're always learning. You're always growing. And that's true for every human being on this planet. Even if you're 100 years old, you're still learning. There's still something for you to learn. You're still growing. You're still experiencing. That's why you're still alive. And that's why, you're here. There's always something to learn, to grow, to experience, so on and so forth. So it's like, yeah, what does it mean to be an adult? Because I feel like it goes beyond just having a great job or making a lot of money or buying a house or knowing the difference between retirement accounts and life insurance. Like, I feel like it's just more than that. And those things that quote unquote make you an adult in society are not necessarily taught when you're a teen or when you're younger. From my experience, I learned a little bit, but not enough to qualify myself as an adult who kind of gets it all. It's like, what's the guy? Not TED Talks. Not Gordon Ramsay. What is the person? What's the guy that's like the videos with? I cannot think of his name. It'll come to me later, but when I was in school, had videos that educated us on like economics and how to manage our money and stuff. But it was like in the 12th grade. It was like late for that. But I didn't really struggle in that area. But there's still things that you learn as you go. Where to invest your money or what bank account to use and when to get a credit card and how to cook a meal. And there's just these simple things that, some people have more experience than others based on how you were raised or what you were taught or what school you went to, like what education you got is different for everybody. So I'm just saying there's like steps in this transition into kind of maturing and learning these things and growing into adulthood. I just feel like even though, yeah, you're 18 and you're like, okay, you're an adult now, it's a process. And I am still processing as an adult. Adult, yes, but still processing in process as an adult. And it's a weird transition because I feel like when you're young, you're in school, there's all these grade levels. And you're in second grade. What's the next grade level? You're going to go to the third grade. So on and so forth. So you get to 12th and you graduate. And there's always like this next level, this next step. But when you're done with your education, it's kind of just like, okay, well, what's next? Job? What comes after a job? We come from a society and generations before us that just, they did school, they did job, and then they retired until they, left the planet. And it's just like, what? I feel like there's just so much more and it looks different for everybody. Of course you want to make money. Of course you want to find the things that you like and enjoy, but that happens different for everyone. I feel like there's this like kind of timeline and this expectation that you need to know what you're going to do when you're 18 or when you're in your 20s, but it's all experimentation. Like you're learning as you go. And that's kind of like the point of it. There's no certain destination or point in time when you have it all together. And I think that is what was so confusing for me, and something that I'm still working through and learning, is that there is no point where you have it all together. You know? Like, what does that even mean? What does it even mean to be an adult? Like, yes, you can be an adult, but to have it all together, like, what? Because even if you have it all together, maybe having it all together means you are, you get that job you want. Well, what happens 5 years down the road when maybe you get laid off, or you lose that job, or you can get hurt and then you're not able to work that job? Does that mean that you don't have it all together anymore? That just means you went through a shift, a change, a transformation. Something changed in your life, and then now, you go on to the next thing. We don't know what that is. And so it's kind of like things aren't set in stone. And I feel like that's been a huge not learning curve. That's been a huge lesson that I'm still learning while being in my 20s, is that things constantly change. Yes, we know this, and we see this every day internally with our thoughts, with our emotions. We see it externally with our experiences. We see it with the seasons. We see it every day is something new. So it's kind of like this idea that you have it all together and everything's set in stone. It's just an illusion. It's false. Of course, to be financially free, of course, to have a great group of friends or family, or a great relationship or a family of your own, or to buy a house, or to get some land, or to travel, or to know how to, cook some great meals from a recipe book, or book your own appointment. Those things are great, but it's things that you learn along the way, not something that you have all figured out when you turn 18, or even when you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s. I just feel like there's never a time when you have it all together, because that's temporary. So I'm learning to really kind of dissect and pick this concept apart, so I can allow myself to just be here, be now, and accept where I am, and accept that this is what it looks like for me, and that may be different for somebody else, And that's another huge thing with comparing. We're looking at so and so that I went to school with. She's making $100,000, and she's only 21, or they just had a wedding, or they just went to Japan, and there comes this comparison, and I feel like it happens. It happens, but it's just like, that's their journey. That's what they're learning. That's what they're experiencing. And it doesn't mean that you can't experience it, but you will in your own way at your own time. And I feel like that's a big thing to realize and learn when you're an adult and when you're in your 20s, is that you are running your own race. You are in your own lane. And that race that you're running doesn't have a certain destination or end point or finish line. Like, it keeps going. The finish line, I feel like, is death, physically. When you're gone, that's when you can no longer experience. That's when you can no longer learn. That's when you can no longer grow. And so really just reminding myself of this has been helpful as I'm processing and becoming an adult. I feel like you're just not automatically an adult. Yes, on the outside in society, yeah, you are an adult. You need to know the difference. You need to have boundaries, like I said, when it comes to when you're a kid and when you're an adult, for so many different reasons. But when it comes to your place in society, or where you are in life, and all these concepts of what it means to be an adult, it's different for everybody. It's forever changing. And when it comes to like your growth, your emotions, your healing, your lesson learnings, that looks different, because you can be 40 years old and still have the emotional intelligence of a 15-year-old. Maybe you didn't work through your emotions, some of your trauma, some of your pain, some of your experiences that you had in life. And so that 15-year-old is navigating your life. It's really running the show, you know? And so when you're interacting with people and socializing and maybe something triggers you, that 15-year-old is running the show. So it reacts and it does whatever it has been doing its whole life because it hasn't been, seen, felt, heard, loved, all that good stuff. So it makes you think, okay, well, you can be 40 years old and have emotional intelligence of a 15-year-old. Are you an adult? Yes, externally in your body, physically you are an adult in this world. Like I said, that is important to know. But internally, there's still an inner child. There's still parts of you that are running the show. And if it goes unseen or repressed, you're just a child in an adult body. And it could be so weird because I feel like that's what the 20s are like. Not for everybody, but I'm just saying personally, I don't feel like a kid, I don't feel like a child. I feel mature, but I just feel like in this place that I'm at in your 20s and in society, I feel like there's this pressure and expectation that you're supposed to go about life in a certain way or know all these different things. And it's just like, hey, I just showed up to the party. Like, let me get settled in. Let me, warm up a bit. And then, I'll get the hang of it. But there's this idea that you're supposed to have it figured out and know. And then even when you get to that place to maybe, like I said, you're figured out has to do with finances or when you have a family or when you're traveled or, it looks different for everybody. But maybe you feel like, okay, I have it figured out. Everything's in place. That can change because we evolve. We change all the time and life changes. It doesn't always have to be a negative thing. It could be a positive thing. But we're constantly evolving. The world is constantly changing. Our experiences are constantly changing and evolving as well. So I feel like it really helps to let up on all of this ideas, concepts, and expectations of what of what an adult looks like. That would slow it down. Because you may not be at that place that you think you're supposed to be at, that you think adults are supposed to be at. And that's okay. You may not be paying bills right now. And that's okay. You may not have a great career or job right now. And that's okay. You may not have, a group of friends that you feel like you should have as an adult. You may not be doing the things that maybe you think adults do. Like everybody's concept of an adult is different. And the concept that we're taught is the same, but it doesn't work that way for everybody. So that's just something that I really am continually reminding myself of because it can be a lot. It can be heavy, especially in your 20s. I don't know about 30s and 40s and stuff yet, but when I get there, I'll discuss it. I'll talk about it and share it. It takes time to really learn about yourself and know who you are and go within and do that healing, And healing is just, for me personally, I look at healing as it's constant. It's never a point where you're fully healed, but you become more aware. You learn your lessons, you grow, and then you do things differently than when you did when you were a child. And as you do that, you mature because you're healing. You're becoming aware. You're looking at the things internally and externally in your life that you did one way that maybe don't serve you, that maybe are harming you or harming others, that want to be seen, felt, heard, loved. And you see it for what it is and you do differently. And it doesn't mean that those things go away. It just means you approach them differently. And to me, that's healing. Because it is healing to do that. And so I feel like as you do that throughout life, you become more and more mature. You learn, you grow, you expand, and you become and grow into this mature adult. You can be an adult and not be mature. You can be an adult and still have your inner child running the show. And I've discovered this. Especially when we're younger, we look up to the people that raise us, the adults around us, and it just seems like they know it all. And then you become the age that they were at that time, and it's like, I have no clue what I'm doing, and that's okay. But it just seems like it's not. It seems like you're supposed to have all the answers. And it's like you learn, you grow, and that's exactly why you may not know, why you may feel lost, why, you may not know what's next and what's going on, but who does? So for me, I'm learning to create my own idea or concept of adult. Yes, you are physically an adult, but it really has to do with maturity and growth. And, you can't really just make it be paying bills and, where you've flown and if you have kids or not, or if you know how to book a doctor's appointment. It goes beyond that. And it looks different for everybody. So if you are in your 20s, if you are an adult, whether you're in your 20s or not, it's okay to be lost. It's okay to not know. It's okay to compare. All these things that you are experiencing and going through, and you're just kind of going through the motions. But that's literally what this is about. What life is about. It's so much change. Everything is temporary. And you're just going through the motions and witnessing this experience, your experience, which is, unique for you. Can't have anybody else's life, anybody else's experience. You have yours. And so just keep that in mind. When you're feeling lost, when you're feeling stuck, these emotions and thoughts are going to come up and they're going to be there. And that's okay. You don't have to escape it. You don't have to try to get out of it because it's going to keep showing up sometimes in your life. But eventually you'll get to a place, and this will look different for everybody, but you'll get to a place where you just feel content where you are. You may not know it all. You may not have it all together, but you're in a place where, I'm good. I'm okay with not knowing. I'm taken care of. You have that doesn't mean, you don't have goals with your finances in your life and, in your relationships with other people and things, but I feel like you learn to be content and more grateful and just allow those moments when you feel stuck and lost. And that's part of growing and that's part of maturity. You learn how to respond to it rather than react. You learn how to approach it in a new way. And I think that kind of helps you determine you becoming an adult. You don't address things as you would when you were a child. You go about it in a different way, in a way that is healthier, that works best for you, and that looks different for everybody. And you may be in a different place in your life. And that's okay. But you may be an adult and you may not feel like an adult, or you may not know what that means. You may not have it all together. And that is okay, because you're still an adult. Jeez, what was that? You're still an adult. Jeez. But you're learning. And that's what adulting is about. It's not about having it all together. It's about learning and growing, which you did when you were a kid, but it's just a little bit different because now you are an adult. You kind of get greater challenges and things, more responsibilities that a child couldn't handle. And I think that's also the difference. You have more responsibilities and things that you have to take on and learn how to navigate. So yeah. A lot of words about being an adult, but I'm still learning and really just taking steps to accept where I am and accept that I am an adult, but I'm becoming, quote unquote, an adult at the same time. It's a weird space, but that's okay. That's a part of becoming and being an adult. You learn just like you learned as a kid, how to ride a bike, how to walk. It's steps, it's levels to it. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me on Transform Perspective. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to woo-sa, take a deep breath, and know that everything is constantly evolving, changing, including your awareness. Everything that you're going through and experiencing, feeling, and each and every day is transforming your perspective. And that's life. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe, follow, comment below what your favorite part of this episode was and where you are in your adulting life. You may not be an adult, but you can just share your thoughts of your ideas and concepts and things that you are working through and processing below in the comments. But yeah, remember, it's not about perfection, but committing to expansion. Have a transformed perspective.